Hello, everyone. Today, we are taking a journey into the heart of one of the most pressing issues of our time, the food crisis. But we're not just going to talk about the problems. We're going to explore a radical solution that could transform our society and secure our future. The book we're discussing is A Nation of Farmers, Defeating the Food Crisis on American Soil by Sharon Astyk and Aaron Newton. Let's start with the big lie. You know the one. It's the idea that we can't make real, deep, radical changes in our way of living, even if it's the right thing to do. This lie narrows our perspective and makes our failures seem inevitable. But here's the truth. We are not cowards, and we are not weak. We are the inheritors of a revolutionary past, and we have the moral integrity to change our world. Think about it. From the early Christians who held their goods in common to the American Revolution that overthrew the divine right of kings, history is filled with examples of people reimagining their societies. And let's not forget Gandhi's nonviolent revolution in India. These are not exceptions. They are proof that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. The big lie tries to convince us that we are less brave, less moral, less capable than those who came before us. But we know that's not true. We have the power to transform our society, and we can start by rejecting this lie and embracing the courage and strength within us. Now let's talk about the food crisis. In 2008, the world faced a food crisis that was both sudden and devastating. It wasn't a gradual shift. It was a rapid unraveling of the global food system. Biofuels and rising meat consumption in developing economies drove up the price of staple grains. In 2007, overall food inflation was at 18%, creating a new class of hungry people. By 2008, the situation had worsened dramatically. In Haiti, tens of thousands of people were priced out of the market for rice and other staples. They resorted to eating cookies made of dirt, vegetable shortening, and salt. Women offered their children to passers-by, pleading, "Please take one and feed them." Food riots erupted worldwide, from Bangladesh to Mexico, from Pakistan to Ethiopia. The crisis wasn't limited to the poor. The middle class in many nations also felt the pinch. People were cutting out medical care, taking their children out of school, and eating only cereals. The UN warned that 33 nations were in danger of destabilizing, including major powers like Pakistan, Mexico, and India. So, what caused this crisis? It wasn't just a shortage of food. It was a combination of factors, including the rise of biofuels, the increasing demand for meat in developing economies, and the speculative trading of food commodities. The energy crisis was also a significant factor. As oil prices soared, the cost of transporting food increased, and the price of fertilizers skyrocketed. Industrial agriculture, which relies heavily on fossil fuels, began to struggle. The cost of potash, a necessary fertilizer ingredient, rose by 300% in less than a year. Farmers faced shortages of fertilizers and were unable to secure planting loans. The global food system, which had been built on the assumption of cheap and abundant fossil fuels, was starting to crumble. But here's the thing, the crisis wasn't just about food. It was about justice and the future of our planet. The authors argue that we need a new American revolution, one based on an agrarian dream. They call for a return to small-scale, sustainable agriculture, where people grow their own food and cook from scratch. This isn't just about feeding ourselves. It's about creating a more democratic society, one that is less vulnerable to the whims of corporations and the volatility of global markets. Imagine a nation where 100 million new farmers and 200 million new cooks are working together to create a better food system. This isn't a retreat to backbreaking peasant labor. It's a call for a new kind of democracy, a democracy that is not vulnerable to being stolen or sold. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but is it really possible? The authors argue that it is. They point to the example of Cuba, which faced a similar crisis when the Soviet Union collapsed. Faced with a sudden shortage of fossil fuels, Cubans transformed their agricultural system, turning urban spaces into gardens and farms. They proved that it is possible to feed a nation with less fossil fuel and more human labor. The authors also argue that we need to rethink our relationship with food. We need to learn to cook again, to appreciate the flavors and textures of fresh, locally grown produce. We need to embrace the idea that food is not just fuel. It's a source of joy, a way to connect with our neighbors and our environment. So, what can we do? The authors suggest starting small. Plant a garden, join a CSA, or support your local farmer's market. Learn to cook with whole ingredients and enjoy the process of preparing meals. Share your experiences with others and encourage them to join the movement. We also need to advocate for policies that support small-scale, sustainable agriculture. This includes land reform, subsidies for organic farming, and the protection of local food systems. We need to challenge the dominance of industrial agriculture and the corporations that control our food supply. In conclusion, A Nation of Farmers is a call to action. It's a reminder that we have the power to change the world, one garden, one meal, one community at a time. It's a vision of a future where we are more connected to our food, to each other, and to the land. It's a vision of a future where we are not just consumers but creators, not just eaters but stewards of the earth. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope this episode has inspired you to think differently about food and to take action in your own life. Remember, the power to change the world is in your hands. Let's make it happen. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share this podcast with your friends. And if you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep dreaming of a better world.
Visit BrightLearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.